Hello, this is Chris Olson, the producer of The Tommy Talks. What you're about to listen to, it will be the final episode of The Tommy Talks. I initially thought it was only going to be 3 episodes, but I did find this first recording that Tommy and I did when we were coming up with ideas for the podcast that we intended to make. And it's a discussion, a back and forth, Tommy and I sharing ideas, and of course Tommy couldn't help but throw in a few stories. So consider this a bonus episode. There is some noise in the background, some yard work, and I hadn't mastered these new microphones I had at the time, and Tommy's voice sounds a little rough. I think he was going through some allergies or something at the time, but it does create the spirit of the times that Tommy and I spent together, and the rest of you who knew Tommy will probably recognize the casual, wonderful conversationalist that Tommy is and was. So sit back and enjoy the final episode of The Tommy Talks.
A good start, and then again, like I said, if you after
I know what you're getting at, because right before Machete got filmed,
yeah,
I got a call one Monday morning at 10 o'clock from Alicia and John. Dad, what are you doing this afternoon? Nothing. We're going to come get you at 2 o'clock. They came pick me up. Wouldn't give me any more information than that. We came over here to, we actually went on East 5th. They were looking for a dialogue coach for Robert De Niro.
okay,
And John told his agent, and she recommended me. Well, they didn't tell me what it was for.
yeah,
So they said, read these 3 pages. So you don't want to sound like a dumbass. So even though I do, I read them trying to be semi-proper about it. And it turns out it got down to between me and some guy from Virginia, and he won.
oh no,
They said they wanted you to be natural. I said, well, then what they should do is say, tell me some stories about when you were growing up, or tell me a story from your past, where you're more in a conversational mode,
right,
not in a, I need to read and impress these people. I'm not a complete dumbass.
right, yeah,
And that's always stuck with me. And I'm like, I just don't understand, but I know what you're saying about, okay, if I would like steps to jumpstart your car,
right,
I mean, you can tell when somebody's reading something. If it's scripted, you can tell.
yep. And I think scripted could also be like what I'm alluding to is, if you think too much about the topic,
Yeah.
it's not going to be quite as fresh. It just isn't, because you're good in the moment. You're good at that reminds me of, and that,
Yeah,
and we
I
can just
remember
wind
one
you
time.
up and let you go. That's what you're good at. But, and again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you preparing will be awesome, but I'm not convinced about it, because for my field, I've noticed that with, in the acting world, that over prep or the wrong kind of prep can actually be a hindrance.
Yeah.
So but I'm glad you understand where I'm coming from, and that we're on the same page with that, and if that you can work with that, that'd be great. Because I don't think there's going to be any shortage of. I don't think there's going to be too much dead air.
Yeah, I'm not a kind of guy. I'm like, yeah, one time we went to the city dump, and my brother found a spring-loaded whatchamacallit. It went off, hit him in the chin. He got 9 stitches.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I laughed my ass off. Like, you dumbass, why'd you do that? And that's a true story.
So okay, let's do this. Let's just for the heck of it write down some general topics we might want to cover down the road. Like definitely Lyndon.
Put Lamarck.
Huh?
Put Lamarck too, because that's my early years.
Lamarck.
L-A, capital L-A, capital M-A-R-Q-U-E. That's my original hometown.
Oh wow! How did I see? As many times as I've heard your stories, there's some things I just haven't connected yet.
I was there up through junior high and then moved to Linden. I only went to high school in Linden.
Oh shit. Okay, but that obviously had the bigger impression on you
Yeah,
because
I
most of
mean,
your stories are Linden.
Yeah, I had a lot. I mean, Lamarck was a small town, 5,000 people, but Linden was a small town, 1,800 people.
Okay.
And Lamarck's in the middle of Galveston County, and Linden is the county seat of Cass County. So, I mean, there's a difference. It's
Yeah.
much more rural.
Right.
And we had a little farm in Lamarck, and I mean, it was just things seemed multiplied in Linden. Looking back, growing up, there was no difference except the dirt was red.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So.
Linden Lamarck, definitely college in ATX.
In 1960s.
1960s.
And one of my rants is going to be belated birthday wishes.
Belated birthday wishes? Belated birthday wishes.
It drives me crazy for people to go, happy belated birthday. There was not a belated birthday. It fell on the right date. You're the one that's belated wishing them happy birthday. So you should say belated happy birthday.
Well, we'll definitely get that in, but I don't think that's a whole episode.
No, I don't know. I can make it last for a little while.
All right. And then, I definitely want to touch on your music life in Austin. You know, when you were a promoter and all that stuff.
Walking in on Sadie Hawkins naked.
I want to write that down. Sadie Hawkins.
Now those microphones are nice. I can hear you scratching that pen.
Yeah. That's what I mean. These are really sensitive. So I'm curious to sound what it's going to sound like when I get you on the phone. But here's something that I've never, and granted this isn't an episode, so it won't be heard if it's territory you don't want to go. But I know you were in the service, but you've never told me those stories. Is that something that you just don't want to touch?
To me, that's a dead period of my life.
Okay.
It was not fun.
Yeah.
You know, before I went in, I thought it was going to be like Cowboys and Indians.
Right.
Furthest thing in the world. People do not understand how gruesome that is. You know, number one, if you're in a war situation. Number two, if you're not in a war situation, how fucking stupid it is, because you got guys with less than high school education that manage to work and earn promotions through the service, the way the system was set up, telling somebody with a college degree, you're an idiot. And they might be, but I don't need that guy pointing out to me stuff. And like, hurry up, you hear the hurry up and wait term? You would hurry your ass up to get somewhere and be there. What are we doing here at 6 o'clock in the morning? Don't you worry about that. And then you sit there till 9 o'clock. That whole experience was just a pain in the ass. So,
understood.
To me, that's one that, we might touch on it by accident, but I wouldn't want to make it a focal point.
I'll let you go there if you want to.
Yeah, I wouldn't make it a focal point.
Okay, fair enough.
That's what used to drive me crazy about Marcus. For the first 5 years I knew him, that's all he wanted to talk about was how glorious it was to be in the war. You're the first guy I've ever met that actually shot at people and blah, blah, blah.
Really?
Marcus, it's not what you think.
Yeah.
He had this glorified picture, these John Wayne pictures,
Yeah.
And I said, it's not that way. I said, your dad was in the Korean War, right? Yes. I said, ask him about it. Well, I do, and he doesn't want to talk about it. I said,
that's why.
Bingo. If somebody's willing to talk about it, they're not over it. If they're willing to sit down and go, yeah, I was in a shithole, I was shooting at people, I was getting shot at, and it's just, that sounds kind of funny, but it's not. Because the first time I got shot at, I peed my pants. I heard a bullet whiz by, and I'm like, these some bitches are playing serious. They're trying to kill me. And I dropped down into a little ditch. It was full of piss and shit, but it kept me alive. So it's it's just like, why would I want to talk about that?
Yeah.
There are 10 million historical versions out there to go find. Mine's not going to make a difference. So.
My best friend growing up, his dad was in World War II, and he told me of when he asked his dad if he ever killed anyone in the war. And his dad was one of those really just calm, serene, really just mellow people. Ended up being a college professor, all that. But he ended up answering by saying, no, but if I did, I wouldn't tell you.
That's a good answer. But
it's also like...
yeah, I mean, it
did he?
I mean, it's just... people who haven't been through it don't get it, and you can't explain it.
Mm-hmm.
You just cannot explain it. It's a surreal. I will say this: nighttime firefights, some of the most beautiful fireworks displays you've ever seen, because they're shooting tracer around, so you'll know where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
And you see orange and red and blue and yellow and at high rates of speed with loud noises.
That's what I remember from Platoon.
Yeah,
a lot of that.
It's crazy. Platoon is actually Full Metal Jacket was a better portrayal. Platoon, all the bad shit that happened to one guy, and that was never the case.
Right.
I mean, all of that stuff happened, but it didn't all happen to the same guy over and over and over.
Right. You're saying the narrative was a little fudged.
Yeah.
Yeah. Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
I've been studying a lot of Kubrick lately, and
Yeah, Full Metal Jacket's a better story about it. Like I say, everything happened to Willem Dafoe in Platoon.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Granted, there were guys you wanted to shoot on your side because they were fucking idiots. But it was an interesting experience, but not one that needs to be shared.
Yeah. I
You know,
understand.
it's kind of that personal.
Yeah, my uncle was the same way. All I know is he was a tunnel rat. I don't know how he lived through that, but yeah, he doesn't talk about it either. He'd have some pictures up of him and his guys,
Yeah.
next to a helicopter or whatever, and so it's not like he was burying it, but he wouldn't really talk about it much. I know that he. I think you have it forever, malaria, when you have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's been on medication for that since he left, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, it takes somebody that's been through it to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just, I don't know. But there's happier times in life.
Right. Yeah. We can get off that, but at least I know not to go there. And then what other things I don't even know why I'm writing this down. We're not gonna have any problem coming up with topics, because I mean you can talk your construction life and the architecture of Texas. I mean Austin, and like the different buildings and things you were a part of creating. I mean that's definitely another part of your experience.
Well, it's like the fact when I got to Austin, there were maybe 6 buildings taller than 3 stories.
There you go. There's a talking point right there. And then, have you ever not lived in Texas? Love it.
And probably never will not live in Texas.
Right.
I've been to some beautiful places.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of places in Texas I wouldn't live.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not any place that I found outside of Texas I would right now.
Yeah.
And that's in 72 years. So I'm figuring at this point in my life it's not going to change.
I have a hunch there's a lot of truth in that statement. Shit, we could just talk about food one episode, right?
Yeah.
We could talk. You know what? This is
Austin
how about
cheese
this?
enchiladas.
It just popped back into me. I better write this down. Maybe as you know how the best shows always have little parts of them that are like, I don't know, Letterman had like top 10 list, or
Yeah.
maybe we could have things like that. Like maybe each episode you could tell me how to cook something. Like if it's your cornbread or your chili, or you know what I'm saying? You have a bunch of recipes, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that could be one thing in our show that, like, all right, well, what do you got for me this week,
What's
Tommy?
in the old bean pot today?
Yeah. What, I want to make some pinto beans, Tommy. How do you
I make good ones too.
see? Yeah, we could. Okay, so maybe like a recipe per episode kind of thing.
Let's take the lid off the old bean pot. What do we got going today?
By the way, I think I've mentioned this to you, but yeah, years ago, man, when you were like eyeballing me from the other side of the bar and being like, "Yeah, I know you're a bachelor and all that. Have you discovered the wonder of the crock pot?"
That's right.
And boy, I'll tell you, I've really gotten good at the crock pot.
I have not been without one since college. There's one right there on the counter.
Yep, I'm loving it. I make all kinds of stuff in that thing. My brother asks for lots of repeats. Like,
I'm thinking about investing in an Instapot.
Is that the pressure cooker one?
Yeah, it's kind of a pressure cooker version. But I don't know why, because the crock pot to me helps build that anticipation.
Yeah, the
I know
Instapot
this
makes
is
it
gonna be good. It makes
quicker.
it quicker, yeah.
Right.
So I may get the Emerald Lagasse air fryer oven instead. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you on the anticipation. It's fun to watch it congeal and turn into.
Oh man, in about
smells
2
starting to-
hours, it's gonna. The whole house smells good.
Yep.
You know. Yeah, it's my favorite to cook chicken and stews. And you can cook a roast in there, and it's very easy. You season it up, and they say you don't have to add liquid, but I always add at least a quarter of a cup.
Yeah.
Water, wine, beer, something.
Now, how about here's a question. And again, obviously, this is all like how maybe the answer will just be in how deep you go. But will you be telling stories about raising Alicia?
Possibly.
Are you going to get personal that way?
Possibly.
Okay.
I mean, I can tell the story about being out drinking on a Friday night and coming home, falling asleep naked on my kitchen floor. That's pretty personal. And my mother-in-law was in for the weekend.
All right. So we'll put a little bit of raising a child.
I'll espouse my theory of child rearing. Gotta let them lick the cat's asshole once in a while.
To strengthen their immune system.
Yeah.
What else? Would you say that your professional bar life was basically wrapped up in your professional music life, or are they separate things?
No, because before I got into as a bartender or anything else, I was going to music all the time. As a construction guy, I've always been attracted to music. My dad was a musician. My uncles were musicians. They had a country band when I was a kid, and I think that influenced. My dad played guitar and piano, and I think that influenced a lot, because like barbecuing for us was a weekend deal. My dad was the barbecue king, so like you had to have all your meat there by 6 o'clock on Friday evening, and you didn't get it back till he said it was ready. But to fill that time, he tended that pit constantly. And he would get his guitar, and my uncles, we all lived in the same area. My uncles would come by and they'd sit in the backyard and watch the barbecue and play music. And I'm talking 30s, 40s, and 50s music, rural country music, real country music.
The real stuff, yeah.
You know, Roy Acuff's Great Speckled Bird. stuff like that. And you just, as a little kid, you hear it. My mom could sing. My oldest sister sang on the radio 15 minutes every week when she was a teenager in Galveston. And it was a pretty good sized regional audience. She had a little 15-minute show where she sang standards, you know. My brother Sam had the largest white soul band in Galveston County for years. And it just, you know, I mean, I don't know. It's just, I've always been, if we were going to go out, it wasn't go to see this or that. Let's go see what this band's about. Let's go hear what these guys are. So, and I think it passed on to Alicia, you know, that fascination with music. So, yeah, I mean, music, my involvement happened because of the bar business. There's no denying that. Because I was booking bands at La Zona Rosa, and I'd find bands I liked, and I would rebook and rebook and rebook. And when I started my band, there was a band that played every Sunday night called King Soul. And every week I'd ask every player in it. It was a 10-piece band. When I started my band, you going to be in it? Yeah, just start the damn thing. You know, that went on for 3 or 4 years. And when I started my band, drummer, bass player, lead guitar player, keyboardist, they all came into my band. I mean, my band was an interesting tale, and I ended up with 2 drummers by accident because I got drunk and asked 2 different guys. And then it dawned on me, what the fuck have you done? You know, you got 2 drummers. So I called them up. I said, you ever been in a band with 2 drummers? No, but it sounds like fun. Whew. I think I asked Rodney Craig to play drums too. So I called Rodney. Rodney, you ever been in a band with 2 drummers? No, but I think I'd enjoy it for a change. I said, good, because I asked Michael Christian to play drums too. All right. Chris, the first rehearsal we had, I rented a room at the music lab. Those guys came in, set up on the practice stage, and everybody was kind of filtering in a little bit at a time. They set up, and one of them hit a groove of some kind. The other one fell right in. I mean, it was a perfect compliment. Then the next thing you know, I got a bass player that's thumping pretty good. My lead guitar player, he's kicking ass. And we had 4 singers in this band. And we just stood off to the side, and I would give $1 million to have recorded that 20 minutes. It was that good. Guys had never played together before. And they just caught a groove. It was like, oh. And we're standing there going, can you believe this shit? And I'm like, this is my first band. How'd I do this? You know? I mean, it was crazy. I had an all-star band. I mean, I had a world-class band. A guy named Landis Armstrong was the main lead guitar player. Larry Lang, who's played with Willie, played with Delbert McClinton, played with some big names. Rodney Craig toured for 14 years with Marcia Ball. Michael Christian played in some regional folk, Gary P. Nunn, some, you know, I mean, some pretty big name guys.
Do you have recordings of that?
Somewhere, but I don't have any recordings that I've got access to right now. I'm trying to. We made a CD one time at Antone's.
Well, if you can get your hands on it, that's something that we could put even just part of a song when that comes up.
Yeah,
we could roll that in.
I gotta call Rodney. He'll still have the CD.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. Also, that leads me to: is there anyone in town of your allies that you can think of that is a songwriter that would be able to whip up like a 45-second theme for you? Me? Well, yes, that I look at, I'm the last resort. Like, yes, I can do that. But the reason I'm asking about a friend is because I'm not Texas. I'm not a Texas songwriter, and I want somebody who, just in how they play, would evoke who you are. I don't think I can do that. You know, I'm a bluegrass flat picker a little bit, but you know what I mean? Like I'm not a.
I'll ask around.
Yeah. But yes, if push comes to shove, I can come up with something. But I would really like it to be just some smoky old Texas guy who can whip up a little groove for, you know what I mean?
I'll call my buddy Larry Wilson.
Okay, yeah, let's see if
If
that
Larry
inspires
can
him, and basically tell him we just need like an in and out.
Yeah, an intro and an outro.
Yeah, for a podcast about you, and see what he comes up with. You know, if he wants to add a little lyric to it, that's fine. Or
back in the '80s, he used to play with Jimmy LaFave, and Jimmy was starting to get a pretty good name, and he played the Hole in the Wall very regularly. And Larry tells a story. It's about one time we were in there, and he said, you know, shit started happening and went down quick, and all of a sudden there's a big brawl right in front of the stage. And he said it went on for about 3 or 4 minutes, and he said, I looked up, and the last son of a bitch I saw standing up was you. I said, well,
do you remember that brawl, Tony?
no, because I was drunk. I used to drink like you wouldn't believe. I mean, power drink, Chris.
Oh.
I drink 12 to 15 pints, 16-ounce pints, and then 6 or 8 shots of whatever my liquor of the day was, 4 or 5 nights a week.
Wasn't that your construction days you were talking? Yeah, and you'd somehow get back on
Get
site.
up and go to work the next morning at
Get
7
like
o'clock.
3-4 hours.
Get off work, drink a glass of Crown and water at home, clean up, go hit the joints, pound it down for a while, chasing women's. Crazy days.
Yeah. So yeah, there's maybe that'll just be laced in with other stuff, but you know, I just wrote down drinking days.
Ooh.
We could
Compared,
there's just so much.
The way I drink now compared to those days, I'm a teetotaler now.
Yeah. I'm a cheap date. I had 2 Guinness the other night, and I was like, ooh. You know, I mean, I remember when I could throw down 10, 12 pints and finish off the night with a Manhattan or 2. Like, I was no angel for a while there myself, but I'm not going to take away your thunder because I never got that
I
intense.
used to do it 6, 7 nights a week.
Right, yeah.
I mean, every night. I'd roll into Maggie Mae's pub between 4:30 and 5. They had a TV. It faced the bar, and the bar ran down. You been in the pub.
Oh, yeah.
I drank on the pub side, not the club side.
Right.
I'd go in. First thing I'd do is I'd drag a chair over for the TV, stand up, put it on Jeopardy. Turn around, get me a Newcastle Brown Ale. Watch Jeopardy and drink beer.
What year is this?
88, 89.
Yeah, I was going to say Newcastle. That had to have been like in the 80s. At the early
I drank so much Newcastle Brown Ale that when I first started drinking in Maggie Mae's, they kept it at the far end of the back of the bar. And I used to sit up by the door. They finally moved it up by the door because the bartenders were complaining they had to make too many trips down there. So they moved it up closer to where I sat.
That's an interesting choice of flavor for a deep fried Texas guy.
I thought it was a lot like the original Shiner Bock.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. There
But
you go.
Shiner Bock's not Bock beer anymore.
Right, no.
It's caramelized.
Yeah, I don't like it. I
don't
moved to
either.
Texas. Everyone was talking about Shiner. I was like, what? I don't get it.
No.
But I had already worked at Goose Island Brew Pub and
Yeah.
had a lot of experience with high quality beer. But yeah, I've never been much
It
of a
used to
Shiner
be a
fan.
good beer.
Yeah.
And the thing was, when I came to Austin, you could only get Shiner Bock from about 1st of October till they ran out, because they only made the Bock beer when they cleaned their vats every year.
Yep.
And it was 88 cents a 6-pack for long necks.
Woo.
was considered a shit beer. But it was better than the Shiner.
Yeah.
There were two beers, Shiner and Shiner Bock.
Was Shiner a Pilsner?
It was a Pilsner. It tasted like piss till you got three of them down.
So it tasted like Lone Star.
Yeah, till you got three of them down. Except Lone Star had a better flavor.
Yeah.
But once you drank three of them, oh, it was good. A friend of mine married a girl from Shiner, and they had the reception on the grounds at the Shiner Brewery. And it's a little town in those days. And those little towns like that, the whole town comes to everything. And all the local women, the old women, they had plastic pictures. You remember the old plastic Kool-Aid pictures, picture things?
Yeah.
They had those with a Shiner beer decal on them. And they ran pictures of beer to all the tables. You didn't even have to pump your own beer. That's all those women did. Volunteered to be at the wedding.
Yeah.
You know.
That was something that I found odd when I first moved to Texas was they don't serve beer in pitchers most places.
They used to.
Yeah.
Used to everywhere they did it.
Because in the Midwest, they still do it.
Yeah. What's a pitcher of beer cost now?
I don't even know.
$12, $15.
Oh, I'm sure. It depends. And it depends on what you order.
Yeah, the
I guess.
brand.
But if you're like the beer, the good, cheap, light beer where we come from is called Grain Belt. And it's actually kind of good for just a little pissant pilsner. But yeah, so a pitcher of Grain Belt these days, I would guess, it would probably be
12
$12.
$15.
Yeah, 12, $15.
We used to have $1 pitcher night.
Yeah.
Nickel beer, nickel for a 10-ounce glass of beer.
Yeah.
Of course, it was Coors Light, nasty shit.
Right. Yeah.
But when you're a college student,
Oh yeah.
you didn't care.
Oh yeah. I drank whatever was put in front. In fact, my college days, before I worked for Goose Island and knew anything about beer, I was just a Miller Genuine Draft guy. For some reason, that was just always
I
around.
liked Miller Genuine Draft. I met this guy on a ski trip. I was riding a ski lift up one morning, hungover, and he goes, "Drink too much last night?" I said, "Yeah." Vail, Colorado. I said, "Yeah." He said, "Beer?" "Yeah." He said, "You know what's giving you the headache is the preservatives. You want to drink a beer with no preservatives?" Well, that was Miller Genuine Draft thing. No preservatives.
Ah, I didn't even know that when I was drinking it.
Yeah.
Huh.
He said, "Switch to something like that." I said, "All right." And I started drinking that for a while. And he was right. The guy, it turns out he was a doctor. And he was from the Midwest. He owned 3 clinics that specialized in headache pain. And I thought, oh, this guy's an idiot. But I started trying it just to give it a shot. It worked pretty good.
And then my easy to find like microbrew beer in like the late 80s into the 90s before it went crazy was Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. You could find that at just about every bar. And to this day, I still like that beer. It's just that perfect amount of hops, if that's what you're looking for, you know.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So I wanted to maybe mention regarding your voice. Do you do anything to mitigate the? Okay, there's some things, and especially for days that we're going to record, you might want to consider some hot tea with lemon and honey.
Yeah.
Another thing you can do that not a lot of people are aware of, and these are things I've picked up from my stage life and having to bring my voice back, is gargle with salt water.
Yeah.
You've heard of that one? Okay. That's another thing to consider. Because and then you should be more comfortable after doing that.
Well, I mean, you can hear what's happening.
Yeah.
I'm getting that, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Nothing? Okay.
I feel like I need to clear my throat, but there's nothing there.
Oh, okay.
I can do that,
And it just
but
doesn't
it
matter.
doesn't matter.
Okay, I get it. That's fine. Then I'm not.
But I think your suggestions might help.
Okay. and then maybe if it'll help you to have some liquid while we're working.
Yeah.
Because we'll probably, this is what I imagine happening is if my goal is to get like I said, like roughly anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes would be like an episode, right? But when we record, we would just go a couple hours or however much energy or
Right.
inspiration we have, and maybe I would get a couple episodes per sitting,
Yeah.
right? Of material. So that's my goal. And then if we do this for a few weeks in a row, understandably we'll probably skip one or two things will come up, but in the next couple 2-3 months we might have enough for
And then
a
I got to look
season.
for a place to post it.
Yeah, well, that's another thing to talk about. As it stands right now, I have a little bit of branding on a media channel that I call Mere Mortal Media. We could make this a show on that, or we could start. This would happen. This would have to happen anyway. I've already planned this through my thing. So basically, to be a real podcast, we're going to have to go through one of those services.
GoDaddy or somebody like that.
Not GoDaddy. It's I don't have them memorized, but there's like 2 or 3 something cast is the big one. But what it is, and this is the stuff that would drive my dad nuts, is like all of these, internet and this and all the words and terms. But basically, to be able to link your podcast to Spotify, Apple,
Yeah.
iTunes, all of them. There's these hubs that their service is to do that for us. We put up our material and then they make it available for, you set the links like where you want it to go, but they're actually making it
Go
possible.
there. Yeah.
And of course it's a cost.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, I think I can get what's needed for like $15 a month. So that's nominal. That's something that I'm probably just going to do. But what I wanted to talk to you about was, I know that you had expressed at one point that you want to maybe get to the point where you have an audience, like doing live or like through your computer kind of thing. I think we can get you set up that way, but that's something completely different.
Oh yeah,
than
down
this.
the road.
This
That's
is
a video cast.
yes, and it's you can do it for free. That's the good news. Is you could, but it would be setting up a workflow from your computer to be able to go through. I don't know. There's any number of different routes to take. That's part of why it took me so long to get my head into this. Was like, there's just so many different ways to do things now that it's almost detrimental to me.
Yeah.
Because it's like I'm almost worse with more choices than less. Give me less choices.
Yeah. Give me 3 and not 9.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give me less choices and I'll make the one choice great. But if you give me 15 different choices, I'm just gonna meander. What the hell do I? So anyway, I'm glad we got to this point today, because now I feel like, and then we've been recording for 51 minutes. I'm gonna learn a lot by re-listening to this.
Play some back. Let's see what it's. Can you do that?
Yes, I think I can. So let's stop.